Let's address the concerns right now. Chadify rates everyone a 6. He's just giving out participation awards. However, is this actually the case? We're going to be breaking down the stats of our analysis broadly. It's not going into the intricacies of the exact data yet, but the basis behind it. And I think it's going to be a nice introduction to our actual results of facial analysis video that we may release, kind of just showcasing what the stats look like. What is the average rating? What is the standard deviation? And so on. I am now going to ask you guys 3 simple questions. I want you to answer them to the best of your capabilities using your intuition. How likely is it that a 4 out of 10 will request to be in one of our videos? Next question. How likely is it that a 5 out of 10 will request to be in one of our videos? And one more final question. How likely is it that a 6 out of 10 will request to be in one of our videos? Some people might say maybe the 4 or maybe the 5 because they want more advice. Or maybe it'll be equal because that has nothing to do with the rating you receive. However, the answer is eye-opening. The likelihood of a 5 out of 10 individual to request to be in one of our videos is 5 times more likely than a 4 out of 10. And the likelihood of a 6 out of 10 to request to be in one of our videos is 5 times more than the 5 out of 10, which basically means that this is a compounding effect. A 6 out of 10 is 25 more times likely to request to be in one of our videos than a 4. This is a form of bias. It's not a bias against our analysis system. It's a publicity bias. This is the problem, if you want to call it that. This indicates a massive relationship beyond the facial analysis and more related to human psychology. So let's go back into the data for a second. And again, the numbers are not exact. We are going to be releasing a much more in-depth video on this soon. Around 50% of the people we've rated have scored 5 out of 10. About half of the percentage of 5s are 6s and half are about a 4. And let's take a look. So we should be seeing that 50% of the ratings that are provided in our videos are 5s, if there is no publicity bias. But let's apply the publicity bias to it. If a 5 out of 10 is 5 times more likely to request to be in a video than a 4, that means that they will be overrepresented relative to a 4 out of 10. The 5s want to be shown in videos 5 times as much. Multiply 5 by 2, and you get 10 times the amount of representation in videos of 5s versus 4s. Even though it should be 2 times as much representation, it's actually 10. Now take a look at the 6 out of 10. If they're 5 times more likely than a 5 to be desiring to be in a video, for every 5, 2.5 6s are shown as a result to this publicity bias. For every 4 that wants to be in a video, 25 6s want to be in a video. Crazy. It is far rarer for someone scoring a 4 than a 6 to want to be shown in a video, meaning that there is an inherent bias, publicity or selection bias, not because of our facial analysis service, but because of human psychology. We are one of the few facial analysis services out there whom allow their clients, if they desire, to be shown publicly as like a case study. And so we're the only ones that exhibit this bias. You look at other channels, and for the most part, they're rating people from Reddit. They're analyzing celebrities. It's public domain. It's different when you work with a client and they're really hyped up and stoked about the results. And as a result of scoring higher maybe than they thought, or simply being above average, they're more likely to want to be in a video, and much more likely than the rarity of that rating. Now, this works in very unique ways. Sure, a 6 is still kind of common, and because they're 5 times more likely to want to be in a video, they're going to be overrepresented. But if you take a look at a 7, even if they're 5 times more likely than a 6 to want to be in a video, I mean, the rarity of the 7 counteracts that. that, and you don't see very many of them. And for an 8, it's basically no one. I mean, there's been very, very few 8s in our videos. I mean, an 8 would technically be overrepresented, but because there's so few of them, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't affect the results. Whereas a 6, it's the most glaring, obvious thing that just gets overrepresented in our videos because those are the people that want to be in the videos. 3s, 4s, and even 5s are just less likely. We've tried to address this issue by actively encouraging more individuals with below average facial attractiveness, 3s, 4s, etc., to participate in our videos. Essentially, I reach out to them more frequently than to 6s or higher because I want to ensure a diverse range of faces is represented in our videos. However, even with these efforts to counterbalance the overrepresentation of 6s and 7s, it's still been extremely challenging to convince below average facial attractiveness individuals to take part in our videos after they get their analysis. In fact, we currently have a waiting list of 6s eager to be featured in our next facial analysis video. You probably see the comments all the time where people are asking again and again, when's the next video gonna come out? I wanna be on it. But the real problem with this is that on the other hand, there are no 3s or 4s on that waiting list currently. Sometimes this shortage of below average participants is the very reason we don't post as frequently. There aren't enough below average individuals willing to be featured. This is unfortunate. From a case study perspective, showcasing below average faces can be incredibly valuable for viewers who find themselves in a similar position and want to understand how to improve. 2 things. First of all, we've experienced some backlash, like people reacting to our videos, suggesting that we're very generous for our ratings. And don't get me wrong, I don't mind some positive criticism. And some of their points might even be valid. But the part that is very key here is that it indicates a lack of understanding that some people would think or assume this is our system and not an inherent bias that has been built in because we allow clients to publicly show the results if they desire to. It's just a unique characteristic of what has occurred over the years. And so all the people commenting these low IQ things, learn this information, broaden your understanding, work on your intelligence, because I think it's really important to learn about these things, to learn about math, statistics, biases which exist in everything, by the way. Never take anyone's word for gospel. It's very rare that anyone has everything right, including us, of course, but all the other creators out there that, some people are following like a religion. Keep in mind that everyone has biases, and you have to admit when there's something in the data that is unavoidable due to the nature of such data and human psychology. And finally, I don't think that this shows any inherent flaw with our system whatsoever. It's a publicity bias. It's not a data bias. It's not a bias or an error within the data. If everybody desired to be in our videos independent of their rating that they scored, it would show a different story. There's a lot less attractive people out there, and that's totally fine. That's just normal, but they're just less likely to want to be in a video. What form of human psychology is causing this bias to form? What do you guys think? There are 2 main and well-researched reasons. People that are more attractive feel more confident, and as a result of feeling more confident, which has been studied, they're more likely to want to be in the spotlight. We also deem if you score better in something, you're going to be less embarrassed about the results and want to show them. Like scoring high on a math test versus someone who performed poorly and doesn't want anyone to know the score that they received. You're scoring well in something and you've had positive reinforcement your entire life, being a more attractive individual, resulting in this glaring bias in publicity. Again, this does not diminish the validity of our videos, as our videos are educational and they're inspiring and they have a lot of information packed in them. It just indicates that the average rating of the videos does not reflect the average rating that we provide our clients. So if you do receive a facial analysis from us and you score a 5 or a 4, don't feel discouraged and think, oh, well, you're the generous facial analysis guy, so why did I score lower than the average score? You didn't. The average is a 5 out of 10. It's simply that the 6s, the 7s, and so on are more likely to want to be in a video. So thank you all for watching. If you want to get your own facial analysis, which is tailored to your specific face and specific needs, strengths, weaknesses, looks maxing suggestions, and of course, our signature chatification experience where you can see your face morphed into its potential, check out the link in the description, chadify.me. And I hope you enjoyed this incredibly high IQ video. Talk to you guys next time.